Have you ever wondered what the deal is with research papers? Why do so many high school and college classes put such an emphasis on writing a research paper or doing a research project? Likewise, why do those papers or projects have to have a persuasive or argumentative slant? Think about what you've been reading and writing about so far. You've written a rhetorical analysis which has explored the various ways writers and creators use language and images to convey a message and to reach out to and persuade their intended audience. You know about all the various aspects of the rhetorical situation: author, audience, purpose, context, and the text itself, and how all of these things work together in an intricate sort of dance. You also know about rhetorical appeals as ways in which authors and speakers can best persuade their audience. Ethos, or credibility, helps the author build a sense of trust with the audience. Pathos plays to the emotions of the audience. I often think of the ASPCA commercial with the images of sad dogs and Sarah McLachlan's song pulling at the viewer's heartstrings. And logos appeals to our sense of logic, using facts, figures, statistics, and other measurable or quantifiable things. These all have their place in academic writing as well, and skilled writers know how, and more importantly, when, to employ them in their writing. But that doesn't answer the question, does it? Why is the research paper such a big deal? As you've probably noticed, as you gain more experience with taking college level classes, and this goes for those high school AP classes as well, that you are learning how to read, think, and write in a different way. You are beginning to use a different kind of vocabulary and apply critical thinking skills in the things that you do. When you are discussing things for class and using the specialized language or lexis of a given field of study, it's called discourse. So, as students in college classes, you are learning to navigate what's called a discourse community. You are adopting a different mode of reading, thinking, and communicating than what you do in your everyday life outside of the classroom. Part of being a part of the college discourse community or the academic discourse community involves research. And what is research? It's not just thinking and writing critically, that's a big part of it, but also it's using evidence from reputable or credible sources to help support your unique perspectives. There should be some key words that get your attention there: evidence and credible. That's logos and ethos right there. When you use evidence from credible sources in your academic writing, you are taking part in what we like to call the scholarly conversation. You may have heard the phrase, standing on the shoulders of giants. This is something Sir Isaac Newton wrote back in 1675. You know, the guy who came up with the law of universal gravitation when he observed an apple falling from a tree. He wrote, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." When you think about it, that's what we are doing when we write research papers. We are standing on the shoulders of those who came before us in the scholarly conversation, so we can see further, and, if we do it well enough, there will be people who come after who stand on our shoulders. We do this less formally as well. If you've ever been part of a really interesting discussion, you know what I mean. Your friend or classmate says something that sparks something in you, and you respond, building on what the previous person said. You are standing on their shoulders. That is the exciting part of being a member of the academic discourse community. It's this exchange of ideas and information that is helping to make meaning in our brains and to build new knowledge. Nobody can take that away from you. Nobody. So, research is an important aspect of the academic discourse community. It helps us to make meaning and to create new knowledge, and hopefully to also grow as human beings. Of course, not all information from sources is treated the same way in all cases. Sources in academic writing need to be credible. They need to be from trustworthy sources, so we too can be credible to our audience, right? I mean, which would you trust more? Research based on TikToks and tweets from the Kardashians? Or that based on sources from people who have done lots of research on the topic? I know it depends on the topic and the scope of such research, but I'd venture to guess that it's the latter. Research involves a lot of things, including the proper use of reputable sources. We will be learning about how to discern between scholarly and popular sources, and I will post a few required essays to read that will help in that realm as well. I'm thinking in particular about how to use Wikipedia and Google to your advantage as students. Most of you who are Gen Z or millennials are really, really good at searching things on the internet. However, you may be lacking the skills to discern what sources are good to use and what ones are bad. The two essays that I'll be assigning will lead you in the right direction. Many teachers or professors frown upon the use of Wikipedia as a source. However, when used in the right way, it can be an excellent tool to jumpstart your research. The same goes for Google. The key is knowing what sorts of things are good for your academic research, that is, credible and reliable, and that which is better off for your own personal writing. When you think about it, in many ways, all writing is persuasive writing. Even a song or a poem is indirectly persuasive because the writer is using language in a certain way to persuade you to view or experience the world in a certain way. The research paper is a particular form of persuasive or argumentative writing. You start with your unique perspective, an idea, a thought, a belief, a feeling, and you look for evidence from others out there, others who are respected in their fields, so you can prove to your audience that you're not a total wackadoodle, that you are, in fact, one of many wackadoodles who think this way, and many of those folks are really respected for what they do in life. So, I want you to think about a topic where you can get fired up and take a firm position. Then, I want you to research background information and the opinions of others, usually scholars who are experts in their fields. You weigh which information is the best to present, which aligns best with your ideas, and you synthesize that information in your paper. But what does it mean to synthesize? Synthesis is the combination of different things. You might think of the term photosynthesis, which is what plants do, combining sunlight and carbon dioxide and water to produce oxygen and energy. When it comes to essay writing, synthesis is simply combining or synthesizing the ideas of others with those of your own. The key here is to show that you are engaging with various texts, combining the ideas of writers with your own researched ideas. Many students have a difficult time with this step of research, mistakenly thinking they must impress their teachers and professors with incorporating as many quotes and sources as possible. Now, don't get me wrong, incorporating your researched information is vital. Providing proper attribution is very important, so you aren't plagiarizing. However, what we're looking for at the college level is that synthesis of sources. I am interested in knowing about your ideas in relation to those of other writers and scholars. So while it may be tempting to use phrases such as I feel, or I think, or I believe, after all, you've chosen a topic that's near and dear to your heart, and that involves all of those things. It's best to try to avoid those phrases, since they can often make your writing appear weak. Your readers will know the ideas you present are your own, since you'll be using proper signal phrases to present the ideas of others, either quoting directly or paraphrasing, and using a correct citation method that shows your reader where you got that other information from. So I want you to think about the questions that have framed our work for the term. What is happiness? What makes people happy? Can we create our own happiness? Do we deserve happiness? And does technology make us happier? Your research project will take some kind of stance, maybe a yes or no, with reasons for your position. Or maybe you will stake a claim and work to prove your point. This is the stuff you've been thinking about since you first started reading all those articles, right? Maybe you came in with a certain idea about some aspect of happiness, and that has changed. Perhaps one or a few of the authors have persuaded you to think differently, or perhaps nobody has changed your perspective, and that's okay. Your job is to show me, with evidence from at least one of those articles and several other sources that you choose, either those that I have provided for you in the Pursuing Happiness Resources handout or those that you find on your own. Show me what you think, because your thoughts matter.